Thank you.
Hey, Robert. Robert, before you disappear, could you briefly let me see your vacuum pump thing there, and the back of your
Okay,
lathe?
yeah. It's I bought it from I forget his name. He's at SWAT, but he's retired now. So I actually got it last
Is that the frugal vacuum chuck?
Yeah,
guy?
I bought it from him. So it's just
what's it sitting in? What's the table?
This is just some little cart I got from IKEA, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
My wife no longer needed, and yeah, it just plugs in. Where is it? Here's the vacuum chuck that also came from the guy, the frugal guy I was working with, and it's got the bearing inside, so you just plug the hose into the other hose, and it works that way.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
No
I need
problem.
a table like that. I need a table like that for mine.
Yeah,
it's sitting on top of my wood pile behind my lathe right now.
Hey,
yeah,
Matt, I'm sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
It's just a little 3-tier basket thing that has wheels, and it's got like a mesh thing, so I guess some shavings fall through, but
there's a specialty shop near my house that sells those. Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
They have a tool tray on top and 2 toy trays underneath it for holding other parts. I bought one, and I think it went, it's not around here. It went with when the shop blew down, but it was handy because I could move it to right where I wanted it at. I do like that vacuum chuck with that ball bearing, that bearing in the bottom of the chuck and not out the back of the lathe, because just I think we eliminate some trouble areas when you keep stepping around.
Yeah, that frugal chuck, that's a good deal.
Now, what I did is I put my vacuum chuck is 10 feet from my lathe, and then just ran a hose and put some valves over the top right behind my headstock and ran that. So the vacuum chuck is, it doesn't have to be next to your lathe. You just have to have a hose from it.
Right.
And then I put some vacuum gauges, and I put 2 valves, one to turn it on and off, and another is a bleed valve, so I could actually control the pressure.
Ready to mail in.
Oh, so it doesn't, you can control it, won't crank up to the full 22 pounds, 24 pounds.
If I open the bleed valve, I can keep the pressure down on it. And then I have an on-off valve from it, and I just turn those pumps are made to run for hours when you siphon stuff out of a system in the car.
Yeah, and folks will say, why you want to reduce the suction? You can fold up a piece. You get a thin piece up on there, and you can easily fold it up.
Or suck the bottom out of it.
Yeah. Folks say, on a vacuum chuck? Yes. Break your heart? Yes.
We had a guy.
Matt, I have my vacuum pump and manifold system mounted to a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that's about, 14 inches wide and 3 feet tall, maybe 40 inches. And I've just got it leaning, since my lathe is close to the wall, I've just got it leaning up against the wall, and I run a hose through my headstock to the vacuum chuck, and off we go.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Yeah, I have one of those. I go in, I don't have the hose that goes through the spindle. I just have a fixture that goes in the outboard side of the spindle, and the vacuum chuck's just, vacuum goes through the spindle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just plug it in, but like I say, I need someplace to stash my vacuum pump. I had another friend of mine who built a sort of a thing onto his lathe for his vacuum pump and the valves.
Going on vacation for 2 weeks.
Oh, yep.
So I'll be there.
Yeah,
Very
I just
cool.
put
Thanks,
them out
Billy.
on a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and then I can move it anywhere I want it.
Thanks, Billy.
No problem.
We had a guy make one out of a cow milking system, and it would bust the bowl no matter what it was, almost instantly. You couldn't even turn it on. I mean, it would just bust anything.
Wow.
I have pulled the bottom out of a really thin bowl before with the vacuum system.
This would just bust anything. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I
Now,
was at,
You
I
gotta
was in,
remember, a vacuum system can't pull more than 14.7 PSI. That's the max pressure it can pull.
That's right. Mhm.
That's max. You can't pull any more than that.
Yeah.
So why does it say go up to like 27 on my gauge?
Those are
The
inches,
inches of mercury.
right?
Okay,
The normal pressure that you normally, inches of mercury is usually about 30.
okay, I'll have to look at it, but okay, cool.
But that 30 inches of mercury is about max, but that's equivalent to about 14.7 PSI. That's 1 atmosphere. And that's the max that's the max pressure you can put with a vacuum pump.
Okay,
You cannot go any more than 1 atmosphere unless you go underwater.
But that's more than you need anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It
Sounds like
is.
well, and you can increase the pull by increasing the aperture of your or the cavity of your chuck.
That is correct. It says PSI is pounds per square inch. So it's 14.7 pounds per inch, square inch that you have there.
Yeah, so I've got some really small vacuum chucks. But the big ones are the only ones that pull the bottoms out of thin things.
I'm a great fan of the PVC adapters for the vacuum chuck.
me too.
Just saw one here on my
Yeah.
table. Build it
And
up.
that's what I do. Yeah, I've got a stack of them.
Yeah, and I've
Never
done,
thought I would hear atmospheric pressure and wood turning used in the same context.
Wow.
My day
You
is
want it better-
complete. Actually, my month is complete.
I went to an
Well, you-
AAW
Awesome.
exhibition one time,
Yeah.
and the guy was talking about you need to get 30 pounds of vacuum. And I'm sitting in the back thinking, you can't go to 30 pounds of vacuum, not in this world. And they passed out a handbill advertising somebody's vacuum pump that was being sold there, and somebody wrote over it 30 pounds of vacuum, and they've never seen a bowl go completely into a piece.
Well, you can get 30 pounds, but you got to be about 33 feet deep underwater with scuba tank on.
Yeah. See, that's turning wet wood. I knew that's where turning wet wood came from.
Hey, you guys want to see a quick picture of my vacuum chucks?
Yes.
Okay. Sure. So these are the ones I use, and they're all PVC. Well, they're not all PVC pipe, but I have a spindle tap. So I make these little nuts on the bottom, and then I put the PVC in. And the big one on the right is a cut up yoga mat that I use bigger things. And the one on the lower left is it's closed cell foam. And I put the concentric circles on there with the Sharpie so I can center pieces on them really easily.
Because you
And the
can't
foam-
slide it around once you bring up the vacuum.
Yeah, it's just a picture. Yeah, well, you can. I mean, and that's what the relief valve is for. You can, lower your pressure and move it. So, if you're only pulling like 3, and it's just barely being held on there, you can slide it. And then once you've got it where you want it, you just close the lever all the way. And
That's
the
nice.
foam that I've used on the 3 ones in the middle, that's that's Walmart craft foam. It's a closed cell foam. It's thin, provides real good padding. And I use clearly I use packing tape to seal it on there. So anyway, those are my current ones. I think I've got another one somewhere, but I don't have a picture of it.
Oh, really? Good.
So, and the beauty of that stuff is you can build it, change it, develop it yourself, size it up for a piece. If you don't hold on a whole lot of thin wall cups or boxes of a certain size with the PVC connections, you got to seal them with something. Okay, when you put them all together, and don't seal them with super glue. That's a bad idea. But you put it in there, you can just slip pieces on and off to redo bottoms or decorate them or whatever. And that's the beauty of a vacuum. And years ago, I bought a thing, and I don't remember the brand name, but it was a square box. It was a double Venturi vacuum that worked under air pressure. And you'd put your 75, 80 pounds of pressure in the inlet, and then you could dial up the vacuum that it developed, and it worked really good if you didn't lose the air. Worked really good if you didn't have any leaks in the system. But it was nice. It was, I don't think I paid $100 for it. It was really nice. And I got other adapters that go around the spindle and stuff like that. And 8 or 10 years ago, I bought this rig made by One Way. It's a 33 millimeter, like a sleeve adapter, like a shaft adapter that went in, and it had a spinning air chuck on the side of it. And you didn't need all that bearing and all that on the inside. The bearing was in that piece. You could thread it on and snap your hose on it and bring a piece up in a heartbeat. So you could do a dedicated foam faceplate or foam backing pad, and quickly go to it. It's a nifty tip. And even at Harbor Freight, they've got some pretty good vacuum pumps for doing automotive AC work, and or central systems. I think the one I got here, the guy next door was doing repairs on central air conditioning systems. And when I talk vacuum pump, he just went to his truck and got his old one. That thing worked like a charm. It was noisy, but you have to give up one thing for another.